Water Lilies is not a name of a single painting, but a name of a series of works. During his lifetime, Claude Monet came back to this subject matter several times, and painted more than 250 water lilies paintings. Claude Monet was a French Impressionist painter who is considered one of the founders of the movement. He was born on November 14, 1840 in Paris, France, and died on December 5, 1926 in Giverny, France. Claude Monet was a remarkable artist. He was extremely sensitive to changes in nature and created a series of paintings depicting the effects of air and light on landscapes, such as stacks of wheat and water lilies. In 1893, Monet, a passionate horticulturist, purchased land with a pond near his property in Giverny, about 50 miles northwest of Paris. He was quoted as saying that he was intending to build something for the pleasure of the eye and also for motifs to paint. On the grounds of his property, he created a water garden for the purpose of cultivating aquatic plants, over which he built an arched bridge in the Japanese style. The result was his water lily garden. In 1899, once the garden had matured, the painter undertook 18 views of the motif under differing light conditions. Certainly, this image depicts an artist at his peak. Notice how he creates the thickly painted pink flowers, the thinner greens of the tree branches, and the reflections in the aquamarine water with a variety of rapid but deft brushstrokes. We appear to hover over the scene because there is no horizon line, similar to how the lilies flowed on the surface of the pond and the surface of the image. In contrast to a more traditional horizontal landscape, the square format of this painting in the expansive water with the center keeps our gaze moving around the periphery, like the rim of a wheel around a hub. Monet painted the pond environment in his first water lily series, with its plants, bridge, and trees neatly divided by a fixed horizon. The artist became less concerned with conventional pictorial space over time. By the time he painted water lilies, from his third group of these works, he had abandoned the horizon line entirely. The artist looked down on this spatially ambiguous canvas, focusing solely on the surface of the pond, with its cluster of vegetation floating amid the reflection of sky and trees. As a result, Monet created an image of a horizontal surface on a vertical one. Monet focuses on the surface of the water in all of his water lilies paintings. He omits any depiction of the land or sky, instead focusing on their reflection in the water. These paintings are typical, with willows only appearing as a reflection. The blue of the sky and the blue of the water are one because the sky is reflected in the water with its white clouds. Only the presence of the water lilies aids the observer in recognizing that this is actually a reflection. Monet also used unconventional landscape canvases in his paintings. Water lilies close to square format was not unusual for the artist, but the division of the canvas into irregular sections creates an otherworldly quality that defies any expectation of axial orientation. Notice how the water lilies are unconventionally concentrated in the upper right and lower left corners, separated by a diagonal swath of water. Monet pushed this concept even further by creating several circular canvases as well. Monet struggled significantly with these paintings. It was reported that he destroyed up to 30 canvases because they did not meet his exacting standards before exhibiting the remainder of this series at a Paris gallery. Monet worked on water lilies in several sessions, according to technical examination. He built up the painting on the canvas by superimposing layer upon layer of gestural brushwork. Many of the underlying brushstrokes that do not correspond to forms in the final composition are visible in raking light. Monet applied at least 8 or 9 layers of paint in some areas of the upper right corner of the canvas, revealing the extent of the artist's complex painting process. Monet downplayed the significance of flora in his water garden paintings at times, claiming that his true subjects were light and weather conditions. Despite Monet's later recollection, water lilies demonstrates how important the plants were in the way he laid out this canvas. Monet planned a number of the water lily groupings very early in the compositional process, sometimes directly over the ground layer, as revealed by the painting's X-ray. The water lilies paintings also function as a kind of diary of Claude Monet's life at the time. Because of the changes in his eyesight caused by his deteriorating vision, the colors and hues in the paintings change as well. Just as the viewer can study Monet's water lilies and imagine themselves immersed in Monet's gardens, they can also easily imagine themselves seeing through the artist's own eyes, as the light from a younger man's eyes begin to dim and grow old. During his final decades, he almost entirely painted the garden he had created there, which was filled with water lilies. The garden offered an infinite number of motifs to be seen from various perspectives, as well as a constantly changing play of light and reflections on the water's surface. However, Monet's goal was to create a more immersive experience, to transport the viewer from wherever they were to a specific moment in his beloved Giverny water gardens.